What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Backwoods Live. I apologize for the delay. Welcome to another episode of Backwoods Live. I apologize about that, just a little issue I just had. Just trying to get my shit together. It's taking a minute, so I apologize. So, let me get some lights on. Today, we're going to be working on a very nice shape. We're going to go old school today. And, there's nothing wrong with a good old school shape. I enjoy the old school shapes myself. I think they are very fun, very good for cruising, very good for relaxing, having a good time. You don't have to necessarily focus on doing tricks. They have a lot of benefits. They're extra wide, more stable. They're going to cruise better, so they accept bigger wheels better. Sometimes they have wheel wells, which we might be working on with this particular board. We'll see if we have time. I don't know. I got to build a special device just to make this happen, so we'll see if that happens. But I also, you see in my hand here, I have brought a special little tool to make my day a little easier, and that allows me, if I turn the device on, that would help. So what it is it is a remote. Oh, I got to change it right there. I think I've done it. So this remote allows me to maybe do something, maybe not. So in practice, it was working just fine. But apparently, push channel select. I mean, it should be working. Oh, look, there it goes. Okay, so we got a little something happening. So I got a plastic bag over top of it, so that might be offending its view a little bit, making it impractical. Plus, this cord is in the way. I didn't really think about that whole issue, but you try out these new devices and hope that they work. So far, it looks pretty good. Yeah, there we go. So we got tilt down. To be over here manipulating. That was my biggest gripe videos. My hands were always in the way. So, as I was saying before, my name is Bobby. This is Backwoods Live. We're going to build a skateboard live on YouTube right now today. So, let's get right to it. I'm going to set this aside for now. And so today I have a couple of different options that I usually go with. Sometimes I go with a mellow, steep, super steep. Man, Jesus loves you. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. So like I was saying, we have mellows, we have steeps, we have twin steeps, and we have twin mellows. So I think today, just for fun's sake, I'm going to go with mellow. It's a good classic. It accepts most shapes pretty well, and especially since we're going to go with an old school shape. I'll show you right here. No, wrong way. There we go. Right here, this is my mellow stack. I just keep it. I keep it here out the way. I got a lot of them. They get in the way all the time. So, a second here. Nothing fancy about my stack, as you can see, but it's efficient. It works. So, I've been trying to do some other episodes using different cameras in different situations. It always seems like the cell phone seems to be the best situation most of the time, and I don't know why that is. Is it going to work now? No, because like right now, this should work, but it's not. Appreciate you joining me. Okay, so I got to wipe this thing off. I'm just going to go ahead and wipe it off now. So as I was saying, I'm going to build a old school shape. I don't know exactly what size I'm going to go with. I do know I'm going to go with a mellow here, which is what I'm getting all of this dust off of. Okay, that's going to be good enough for now. Okay, let me try this thing again, see if it's going to cooperate. Which way does it hang, brother? It hangs all kinds of different ways these days. Let me tell you, the channel 10, what is this thing even doing? I don't get it. There it goes. Channel 5, select it. Now, this thing is really dumb sometimes. So anyways, as I was saying, we're going to build an old school shape. I don't know what size we're going with there. Now it's going to want to work. It's acting like it's stuck. What is it stuck on? It's my bag. Of course, it's something I did to make it worse. Of course, I would do something to mess it up, make it worse. Okay, now it's working just fine. Great. Okay. So usually with old school shapes, you're going to see something wide, nice and stable. Usually up here in the, depending on which way you face, your forward-facing foot, it's going to be nice and wide back here. Of course, in your kicktail region, it's going to be nice and wide up here. Old school shapes don't typically focus too much on having big noses, crazy steep noses. So with our mellow shapes, as you can see, maybe here, maybe there. Oh, there we go. Work with me now. Work with me. Work with me. There you go. Technology, man, I swear. Our mellows have a specific nose, a specific tail. So right now, this is the nose, I believe. Let me look at it again. Yes, yeah, definitely is the nose. And generally, when I'm making a traditional skateboard popsicle shape for whoever wants it, I will put the nose up front. Everybody likes the nose to be a little bit steeper because you're going to be doing switch tricks. You need that extra little kick to give it that extra oomph. And I like that. So I'm not opposed to that. But with an old school shape, I do it a little bit different. I flip it around. There you go. I have the tail or the nose as the tail. Now this will make it seem, I think, like more old school generation. I noticed new school decks, they have a more mellow tail nowadays as opposed to older decks. If you've ever seen one from that era, I'm not talking about reissues necessarily, but ones from that generation, the tails on these things are immense. And that is what we're going to go for. So, like I said, we're going to go nice and wide. I have only a 10.5-inch press here, so I can only go probably 10 inches, a little less. 9.75 usually is my comfort zone for how wide I can make this thing. Now I'm thinking I'm probably going to go in that range, maybe 9.5, something like that. But our first order of business is we got to find our center lines, both this way and this way, to be able to put our truck holes in, because right now we ain't skating on nothing because you can't put no truck in here. Obviously, it's just a blank deck. So, all right, now I have to grab my tape measure, my pencil, and of course, we're going to pull our measurements now. I know that this thing was 36. I just pulled my halfway, 18. It could be whatever you want it to be. As long as you find dead center on this thing, that is what we're after. Now I'm going to turn this around, face this way. There we go. Now I'm not having to face you sideways. I think this might be a little more efficient. Efficient viewing. So now there's two ways I can measure this thing. Straight down like this or like this. I like to do like this. I think it's more accurate, holding it down versus letting it free ride up. If you got an opinion differently, please let me know. I'm curious to see what others think, especially if you build skateboards or just build things in general. I would be interested to hear what you would think on how you would find center on something similar to this. So last episode, we were building a skateboard for a buddy of mine, and he actually happened to be joining the episode live. In the comments, of course, he was talking to me through there. Let me get this out the way. There we go. Sorry about that. He was talking to me through the comments, and we were kind of building the deck together. He told me some basic specs of what he was looking for, and so he got to see it happening live while he was probably sitting on his couch with his family, having a bag of Doritos or something. I don't know, you know. So I think that's really cool and different. So with this board, cruiser style, we want to go a nice wide wheelbase. Generally, 14.25 is my go-to. That's my standard truck wheelbase I'm going to go for. I think it's a good comfortable distance for most people. So I think for this one, though, I'm going to go a little bit wider stance on it. It's going to give it a nice cruise, nice turns, nice angles when you're going around the park or what have you. So for that, we want to find our point here. So I'm thinking 15 might be a little wide. Might be a little wide. We're going to give it a try. 7, maybe 7.14, 7.5. Let's give it a try. 7.5. We don't want to go too far and have it go into our flat spot that makes up our tail. That could be very problematic for the riding experience. So I have to plan in advance for the trucks that are going to go onto here. I know that they're 2 1/8, so right now that's where the back of the truck would sit. So I don't think that would actually be too bad. We still have a good flat spot here. So yeah, I think we're going to go with it. Decision made right on the spot here. I was going to go a little bit smaller just for that safety factor, but I think 7.5, making 15-inch wheelbase. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. And that's what's good about these particular molds that I have, is I can interchange my standard 14.25 and go down to, say, 13.5 if I wanted to, and then up to 15 in most instances. So on the steeps, super steeps, things like that, maybe not so much. Those have a bit of a different design to them, if I could say. Okay, so same thing on this side, 7.5, 7.5. And what I am marking now is the beginning point. Let me grab something here. Okay, what this is the beginning point of where the trucks are going to go. So the trucks would sit like this on the underside, something like that. That's where they're going to sit. So we're figuring that out right now. Okay, I do appreciate you guys joining me. I really do appreciate having somebody here with me while I'm building. Or even if I'm not having anybody here, that's cool too. I just enjoy, making these skateboards and talking about them. And hopefully you guys can learn something too about the process, and I can help spread some knowledge about skateboard building. Maybe not the professional way it's done, but definitely the way I do it. And that's got to count for something. Okay, so maybe you can see it on there, maybe you can't. We just got some lines in there. As I said, these mark our spots for our trucks. Now we got to mark our other line going this way. Very fun process, of course. So this time we're going 5.5 and 5.5. There we go. Find our halfway point, same as we did on that side there. Okay, there we go. Now, from this point, we can draw our straight edge. That'll give us our perpendicular line and tell us where our center point is within the middle of this deck. Now, as long as I don't move anything, we'll be all right. I've been pretty good about this, so let's hope I can keep it up. That would be the idea anyways. Okay, I'll slide it down. Make sure I'm even on this side. Same as before. There we go. There's a line in there. And there we go. We have some spots where we can start marking for our trucks. Now let's see if this thing is going to cooperate with us. There it goes. Okay, so we're going to step over here to my fancy little station I've made. here actually. This is what I use to put the holes into here. Oh, now, I wonder if I have everything set up. I do not. Of course, I don't have everything set up. I always got other projects happening. I get distracted. As you may have seen with the cart episode, I'm going to have to turn this thing around. Give me a... I'll just leave it. It'll be all right. We'll just leave it. I'm a little darker probably over here. I apologize. Excuse me. So, what we're going to do, we're taking my fancy jig. If you've never joined us with this particular portion, my fancy jig I made, we're going to line it up to our lines that we just created and at our holes, or at least the start of our holes, for our trucks. Okay. Now, I'd like to say, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or how I'm doing it, please let me know in the comments section. I would appreciate your knowledge, your wisdom, your thoughts, your concerns. Doesn't matter. I'm open to it. We're just out here making skateboards, nothing fancy. Okay. Let me tell you what, you have never realized how much you say the word until you've watched yourself in some videos. And I've been doing that a lot lately, obviously, kind of critiquing myself and seeing where can I improve to make this a better viewing experience. And that is one of my biggest personal gripes, is how many times I say or something of that nature. And it's really frustrating. And I keep doing it. So I'm going to try not to do it. In an effort to sound more professional, try not to use extra words that are just filler. Okay, here we go. We got our bolt holes in there. So we're ready, just about. I'm going to go through the backside, kind of clean them up a little bit. They got a little funky there. So I'm going to try to clean them up real quick. Now, see if we can tilt you down. There we go. Look at that. That's pretty nice. Okay. Now, same thing as I did before. I'm just cleaning it up. And then after this process, I like to do a final check just to make sure I didn't jack it up. F it up. Screw it up or otherwise. Okay. Here we go. So I'm going to line it up. And it is a perfect fit. Look at that. Now I'm going to check the other side. And line it up. Make sure I'm very precise. Perfect fit. I always do this double check just to make sure. I know it's old school, like I shouldn't have to do that because I should be that precise. Most of the time I am. But sometimes it gets tricky. And I don't know, I get off my game or something, thinking about other stuff. Life, you know, life comes at you sometimes. So you just kind of got to work with it. And just go roll with the punches, is what I'm saying. Anyways, so what I've done is I've flipped it around. We have our nose as our tail, and we are making an old school shape. Now, what do I mean by old school shape? Well, it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So to me, see, look at that. To me, an old school shape is going to be something. Let me see if I can draw it out for you in small, and then we can work on it in a bigger sense. So I like to have something. I think I'm actually going to change my idea. So I was originally going to do a broad nose, something wide, broad nose. But I think I'm going to do something punkish point. So something with a nice sharp point on it. And it's not going to matter too much as far as functionality goes. an old school shape, you're not typically going to be doing too many nose tricks or nollie tricks or switching it up to ride it backwards. It can be done, but sometimes it's just not worth it. I'm going to be honest with you. So from there, I know I want a nice wide punk point. Let me show you my fancy drawing. So right here, super fancy, I know, triangle. So what I'm thinking, I want to be maybe something like an old warhead, you know, from like the old 50s movies, the warheads, like from maybe cartoons or something. Looks kind of like a bulbous on the outside shape like this. And I'm making this up as I go along. So if you have any opinions, please let me know. So I'm thinking something bulbous like this. Let me see if I can draw it like this. This would be amazing if I could draw like this. And then maybe if I had the tail, I don't know, I kind of want something, I want a big wide tail, you know what I'm saying? So let's slide you over here. There we go. Now you can see me a little bit better. I want a big wide tail, but do I want it to come to a point? Nah, that one's not even. It's got to be somewhat even for the drawing I'm trying to show you. If I could draw even, I can't really, so you'll just have to bear with me. I usually do it by the numbers. It makes it a lot easier. There we go. Just something like that. Give us an idea. And I think I'm going to curve it up like that. So it's going to have a sharper curve on the edge. So it looks kind of like a warhead. You know what I'm saying? Like a... I keep saying that one too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like a warhead or a fish. So it'll be somewhat fishy shaped. I think that'll be something. I think that'll be something. So I'm thinking 9.5 at the widest point. I want that wide section to be nice and wide this way as well. So I can leave that there for now. Now I said I want to start up here at the front, so that's what we're going to do. I need to slide you back over here. There you go. There you go. This way. This is where the party is. Okay. Now at the very front here, we're going to go start at 9.5. We may end up changing it and going a little bit bigger if we can squeeze it out. But we'll see. You never know. So I know 9.5 right there. I know at least halfway down. I said I wanted to do 9.5 also. So I actually just have to extend my line that I made earlier, like that. And make sure I'm at the apex of these two lines. I'm going to have to come a little bit closer. There we go, something like that. Now I know where the apex is to measure from. We're going to go same as we did up there, 4.5. Same right here, 4.5. Okay. So where do we go from there? It's a good question. Down here, how wide do I want to make it down here by the trucks? That's a good question that we got to figure out next. So maybe 9.5. We don't want to go too much. It'll be too much if we go too drastic too quickly. So I'm thinking we'll start it at 4 1/8. That's not too much. I don't think that's going to be too much. 4 1/8. There we go. Okay. Can we draw preliminary lines? Probably not. Probably not. But I have a few more hashes to make. So I know from this point here to our next point, which is going to be our top of our trucks here, I don't want it to drop too significantly yet either. I want to maintain that width. So I think on that, I'm going to actually be wider than I am here, and ultimately wider than it will probably be on that end down there. So I'm just guessing here. I'm going to go 4 1/4. 4 1/4. I think that'll do it. And that was just under right there. There we go. That's going to give us a little more broadness. And you'll see these once I start drawing in some lines. You'll see where I'm headed with this. It'll give you an idea of what we're going for. Let's see. We went 4 1/8. So if we did 4 1/8, that's going to be straight. We don't want to do that. We want to come in probably to 4. Yep, I think 4 is going to do it. And I've never done this kind of shape before, so I don't know quite how it's going to turn out. If it's going to turn out good at all. You never know sometimes. So we're going to hope for the best, expect the worst. That's what I like to do. It's a safe bet. It's a safe bet. So if I just draw straight lines here, that's not going to work. That's not going to give me that bulbous, rounded shape that I'm looking for. So I got to figure out a new plan here. So if that's my apex, excuse me, then I need to curve from here almost all the way just about like that. So obviously that's not a very straight line I just did. I just sketching something in there, but it's pretty damn close, pardon my French, to what I'm actually going for here. So I'm going to see if I can just make it work a little bit more. Get rid of some of these humps that I've created. Generally, this is not how I'm going to design a skateboard. I'll have a little more geometry, a little more lines, a little more measuring going into it. But occasionally I like to challenge myself and see if I can make something that I have in here onto here. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I like that side. That's looking really nice. It's almost like an egg. I don't think you're going to be able to see it too much there. You can kind of see it right here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or how I'm doing it, well, I hope I can answer it. I will certainly try. But as far as I can tell you right now, we're making a skateboard. I'm hoping it's going to be a cool skateboard that looks something like that. Sort of. Maybe better, I hope. But like I said, we're just going to go for it and hope for the best. And I'm trying to not say the word so many times. That's also a big goal. Yeah, there we go. That one was much better. I flowed much better on that than I did on that. And they look really nice, actually. Let's try that again. One more time. There we go. If I concentrate, don't think about much. Boom. I can do it. So that's the plan. Don't concentrate. Or do concentrate. It's a good question. There's some concentration in there. I just don't know if I should leave it off or add it on. I need this a little longer. Just a little bit to even it out. There we go. That's pretty precise. Whoops, shit. Pardon my French. Okay. We're looking pretty good here. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to do the same thing I just did right there. All I'm doing is giving myself some stop points of what I just did. It's even with the deck. It may, I hope, be even numerically. I can check. I would hope so. 19 1/4 $19 1/4. So yeah, okay, they're even. That's good. That's what I want to see. But now we got to figure out how we're going to shape our tail, which is going to be on this side, and then our nose. I think I'm going to start with the nose. I generally like to start with those most of the time. For me, it feels like it's more of an important situation to know what the nose is, because that's what I'm going to be seeing the most. Of course, I'm going to see the tail probably just as much, but in my mind, it makes sense, so I'm going to go with it. So how long do we want to make this, or how long do we want to make this nose? I would say something not longer than 6 inches, because we want to maintain that punk point while still keeping, yeah, I think 6 is going to be just a little too much. We're going to start at 5 inches right here. That'll be a good starting point. And of course, I'll put another apex marker just to give me an idea. If I can get it lined up. Gotta love a Friday, right? Just things ain't flowing for it. Friday ain't flowing. I should have skated. I should have just skated. That would have solved all the problems. Okay, there's my apex point. This is going to mark the very point of my punk point nose. And again, I'm going to probably just freehand this. I don't want straight lines. I don't like that particularly. So I want something that is going to flow from here to here. That, I have no idea. I'm going to hope for the best, I suppose. Just hope for the best. Sometimes I can make one side really nice, and then I'll never match it by pencil on the other side. As much as I want to, it just won't happen. That's pretty good. Somewhat punkish. Maybe a little bit shorter. I think I might need to go shorter with that. It's looking a little long. It's looking a little long. I don't know. We're going to keep messing with it and see what we can do with it. Maybe we can make it look better. We just work with it a little bit more. Like I said, I like to maintain a certain level of fluff or extra width on the nose, or on a nose or a tail, instead of them being straight lines. I want them to kind of be a flowing, natural line of where a natural expression of where that edge was going to go anyways. Now we're looking pretty good. It's not exactly even. I need to make that one a little wider. And this is all part of the process. I don't know if you guys can see it here, but if you look down it, there's the light. I need to kill that light. You can see that it's off just a little bit. And that is what I'm trying to correct right now. Because sometimes, even if it's correct by the numbers, it might not be correct by the eye. And that is where it matters the most. Is it's got to look good, or else you're not going to want to ride it. Somebody might like it, but if you, the customer, are the one ordering this, and you're watching this and saying, hey, I need you to build that better, then hey, that'll be what I do. Before I cut anything, we're going to keep working together in real time and make it happen. Now, this is generally something I do when I'm building skateboards anyways. I'll send some pictures of the process as it's happening, and work with whoever the customer may be. Whoever the customer may be, we'll work together and try to get that perfect shape that they're looking for. Okay, I had to erase some it's a little distracting. Now that's looking much better. Let's see if you guys can see right here. Wrong way. There we go. So that's not bad. That's not a bad looking nose. Visually, it still looks a little funky right here, and right here. So if you agree with me, please let me know in the comments. If you disagree with me, please let me also know. But it's pretty close. It's pretty close. That's the side I got to work on. It just needs a little more of that extra oomph. A little more width to make it right. Sometimes it ends up being a 1/16 of an inch. But that 1/16 of an inch just matters that much. It really does. All right, so that doesn't look bad. Anything else from here, like this point here and down, I'm going to give it some extra breathing room when I cut it. So we should be okay. I can take off whatever I need to on the sander. Now our shoulders, which are, if I can rotate it, right here, from here to here, I think that's going to be good. Nice wide width. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Looks pretty much the same. If I look down it, you can see just a little bit of a variance. Like I said, it's probably a 32nd of an inch. It's not much. It might just be my lines here. Once I erase all of those, it might not be a problem anymore. So I think I'm pretty comfortable with that for now. So we're going to flip around and begin our tail section. Now for the same situation, I'm going to actually, so our total width right now, if I was to measure straight across, depending on what we make our tail, would be under 31 inches, more than likely, which is perfectly fine. Nice short deck for this type of shape is going to look really nice, especially because we went 5 inches here. You got to expect that it's going to be a shorter deck overall, which makes it easier to carry, obviously. And those tend to be a funner ride sometimes if you're not, if you want to do a lot of tic-tacking and things of that sort. Very fun for those, this particular shape. So I'm thinking we're going to start wide with this. I was thinking 7 at first. I'm going to actually start at 6 3/4. That'll be a good starting point for where I want to have my tail section. I don't want to go too long or else it'd be awkward. I also don't want to go too short or else that would be awkward. And it just wouldn't look right, honestly, in my opinion. But if you were the one that was requesting this, well, then it would be whatever you wanted it to be. Looks pretty good. Let me double check my work here. I always like to double check myself, make sure nothing funky is happening. Because it looks like I've gotten off right there just a little bit. So I'm going to double check that just to make sure. And it is just slightly off from where I was originally, but that's okay. Make my line just a little bit bigger. It's not far. Like I said, 1/16 of an inch, not much. As you can see right here, that was the variance that we just dealt with. 1/16 of an inch. It's not much, but it does matter to have that extra bit just so. So this is our new one right here. So that's going to be what we're going to call our center point. Now, we've got to also figure out how wide this way we like to make the tail. We have a lot of options when we're making our tail as far as width goes. Generally, I like to keep it as wide as the deck is. That's how wide the tail should be. Not always. Obviously, I have some shapes over here where that is different. So I think for this deck, I'm going to stick with my customary staying at 9. Well, actually, it's 9 inches here. So, yeah, we don't hit our 9. Yeah, 9 1/8 here. Okay. So we're going to actually go 925 on the widest point of the tail. 925. So that's going to be 4, 5, and 8, I think. We're guessing here. 4, 5, and 8. And then measure it on this side just to see if I'm right, because I'm not entirely sure if I'm right at all. 4, 5, and 8. Total measurement 925. I was right. Okay. Now what these lines will represent is the outermost point our tail should be, curve and all. And that just gives me some reference points that I can use. And they're generally about the same distance that the tail will be. So I'll know that I should be fully at its arcing points on all apexes at that point, if that makes sense. Okay, so I don't necessarily have to be at the apex here. I can actually do it down here somewhere, because it's going to be somewhat of a fishtail kind of shape. And it'll start to come together. But it's an augmented fishtail, maybe. We'll call it an augmented fishtail, because it's not going to be as curvaceous. There we go. Something like that. So I'd say I'm within 1/2 inch of our apex lines of width. So now, from there, I want to start thinking about curving those bad boys in. But I'm going to give it another 1/8 of distance. Just another 1/8 of distance before. That way I know that I'm closer to that apex line of width. There we go. Now I'm just kind of freeballing this. Just guessing at what I think was going to look right. Something like that. That's pretty cool. I like that. Now the question is, can I copy it? So I'll show you what I've done. That's what we just did right here. And that's our fishtail-esque shape. Fishtail-esque shape. Okay. Now let's see. I don't think I'm going to. I always have problems at duplicating one side to match the other. I have to do a lot of trimming sometimes. And I think it's just how my hands work, because I'm a lefty. I think it makes things a little awkward. See, that's not quite as voluptuous. It needs a little more oomph, a little more curviness. Let me try to fix that. We're coming out pretty hard there. We're coming out pretty hard. Something like that, maybe. That's much better. That is almost the same. Sorry, had to block the view a little bit. I got to see this thing up close and personal sometimes, just to make sure that it is what it needs to be. And in case you were wondering, that's why this is built this particular way, because you see this is super comfortable to sit here and draw like this. So these kind of things were taken into consideration, just in case you were wondering. Because I am always curious. Okay. Okay. There we go. I think I like it. I think I like it. Let me see what you guys think. And get your opinion. Ooh. So this is what we've just shaped up. Let's see, maybe I can kill that light. That's a little better. It's not bad. It's pretty close. It's pretty close to my original idea. Let me back this up. There we go. And tilt you down. And down. And down. That light's killing me ahead over top. It's killing me. So that's what we're looking at. That's going to look like a pretty good shape, I think. That's going to ride pretty nice. So I think we're just about ready to cut. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about anything I'm doing here, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, anything, just let me know. I'll do my best to answer it. Otherwise, we're going to probably go ahead and start cutting this thing out. Yeah. I've given it all of 5 seconds, and I think I'm happy with it. I think it's gonna come together really nice. So we're gonna slide you over just a little bit and bring you down just right about there. Now, grab my trusty jigsaw here. And as it is right now, this particular skateboard does not have an owner. So if you would like to possibly own this deck and get a custom graphic put on it in some respect, please let me know in the comments section. We can work something out. Or if you want something similar to this, I can help you figure out what kind of shape you're looking for. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now, it's going to be a little loud with this, so I won't be talking too much. I might zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better of an angle. Still going, almost there. Okay. Halfway there, probably a little over halfway. I have got to flip this thing around so I can cut the rest of it. As you can see, I did not get all the way through. So, just give me a second here. I'll get this thing set up. Now, you'll notice when I was cutting, I'm keeping a clear distance of the edge, about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe even up to an 1/8 of an inch in some areas. I'll be able to sand that off. I got to stop with the ums. My goodness. I've got to sand that off. Once I have this thing cut off, I'll be able to clean it up Have to be careful around here. Obviously, that's a flat blade sander. This is not a flat edge. There's hardly any flat surface on this thing. So that is where the fun lies. Gotta make sure that's tight. Okay, so I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, damn. What kind of punk point is that? And I'll show you. It doesn't look quite like a punk point, does it? It's looking a little round, but that's okay. Get that dust off of there. That's what we got. So it's somewhat punkish. A little bit. We'll get there. That is the fun part about what we're going to do next, is take it over to our sander right over here. Maybe I can show you with my fancy device here. So this sander right here is going to do everything that we need to do to fix this shape up and make it look nice. Now, as you can see, it's not quite even on this side versus this side. Almost looks like it is, but if you look at it from the back side, not so much. And of course, we have this little dent here we have to take care of. So some different things to work on. And of course, worrying about what to do with all of this. Okay, so I think we're ready. So I'm going to get my mask here, get you guys rotated around. I have this fancy little cart I've made here where I can bring you on closer, as long as I have you facing the proper way. There we go. Something like that. Nope, wrong way. There you go. That's where I need you to be, right here, because we're going to be right here working on this. Now, hopefully, I might have to back you up a little bit. Hopefully, I won't be in the way so you can actually see what I am going to be doing here. If you've ever been around woodworking, then you know what's about to happen next. It's going to be a loud saw, or a loud sander, not a saw. First, I'm going to go ahead and kill this. Plenty warm enough in here. Okay. So our first order of business is going to be to straighten up this side and that side. So you'll notice it's not so much about maintaining or trying to get into that line. I'm just trying to maintain that arc. That's why I'm being gentle and rocking. Come on. It's not looking too bad. We're looking pretty good so far. There we go. I had to back you up a little bit. Now, is this going to work? It's still acting like it don't want to work. It's really weird. I guess it doesn't like me. It's gotta be, right? It doesn't. So as you can see, that's not bad. I'm just worried about these sides right now, and I'm going to focus on the nose. Pretty good. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty good. Starting to like that. So far, we're coming together. Need a little bit more. I like it. They're coming together pretty good. What? So dumb. Does whatever it wants. Whatever. Alright. Now we gotta get this tail worked on. We're gonna try to get this thing straightened out. Pretty close. Pretty close. Just needs some refinement. There we go. That's looking pretty good. That's a little bit closer to what I was envisioning. Not bad. All right. Yeah, not bad. All right. So I'm pretty happy with what I have here. I think it worked out pretty good. Ended up being a pretty nice little shape. Now, what is this thing gonna do? Who knows? It turned out to be a pretty good shape. I'm pretty happy with what we ended up with. It's still not going to work. Still not going to work. Oh well. It was worth a try, I suppose. So like I was saying, we took a minute. First took care of our sides. We wanted to make sure that those were straightened up. That's why I was rocking it back and forth. Now I'll probably end up doing just a little bit more refining. Go ahead and pop this mask off. I'll probably do a little bit more refining on this edge on our next episode. But I think I'm very happy with the way this nose turned out on both sides. And obviously we're going to take care of this little issue on our next episode either. Also, a little bit of sanding, knock that thing right out of there. Same thing with our tail. I really like the way this tail shaped up. I think it turned out really nice. It's got a good broad edge to it, somewhat a fishtail, but it's not exactly a fishtail. So if you're familiar with them and you think, yeah, this is a fishtail, please let me know. I would be interested to see what you think. So that is what we created. And like I also said, if you are interested in owning this deck, you want to add a custom graphic to it, please let me know in the comments. Or if you want something built similar to it, please also let me know. I enjoy different projects. Like to know what your thoughts are on particular shape and if you think it is going to be a good ride. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I do appreciate you guys joining me. I really hope you join me next time on our next episode. We're going to finish this thing up right here. And hopefully, very soon, fingers crossed, I'll be able to start working in the new workshop, which I'm very close to being finished with. Very close, reasonably finished. Enough that I could start moving stuff in there. That's what I'm trying to say. We also have some other big things happening very soon. I got something in the mail recently that I'm very, very excited to share with everybody. So when that is ready to share, I will share it more. You may have caught the little clip, a little short I added earlier. If you didn't, check it out. But we'll be doing a whole video and tutorial on that particular project also. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for joining me, and peace.